Hey there, fellow pwners. Welcome to MasterofPwnage's Art of Total War. Today we're going to be talking about Leonidas, or as I've heard people say Leonidas as well, who was actually 60 years old at the Hot Gates on like the movie 300, and they were also backed up by like 4,000 other Spartans, but that's besides the point. Leonidas is probably one of the most overpowered generals at this point in the game, and that's due to a lot of his abilities that we're going to go over first. Then we're going to get into what units I recommend you use, and what units to avoid using Leonidas. And then we're going to go over the recommended unit configurations and what they're good for. We're going to start off by talking about his abilities. So the first one is Shield Bash, and this is one that's highly contested and will probably have its buffs lowered pretty soon because it's a very powerful ability, one of the most powerful in the game, and that's Shield Bash. Shield Bash grants a 3-second damage buff to your unit, and it also knocks down the entire front line of the unit that you're fighting with, which also greatly lowers their morale as a result. It's just a very, very good ability. It works with all melee infantry that has shields. Hold the Line, another very, very powerful ability. This works with all melee infantry, not just shielded infantry. And it grants a very large charge deflect, a huge boost to melee defense, but it slows you down because you're holding the line, not meant to move around a whole lot. Fight in the Shade, another very, very good ability for getting... You literally can just run past any archers that are shooting you to get into a melee, because what it does is increases your missile block chance pretty significantly. At level... What am I at right now? Level 2. So I haven't even gone that high up. Level 2, it's a 76% boost to your missile block. That's very, very, very good. If you turn away from them, you show your backs, you're still going to take all of the damage. Battle Cry, another very, very powerful ability. It's a circle around your unit with Leonidas. So wherever Leonidas is, it grants not only that one unit, but all the units around him, bonus to their defense. So very, very, very good ability as well. Not only that, but it also will stop your morale from dropping for that 15-second duration at level 1. Moving on pretty quickly, let's talk about what units to use. Now, any unit will suffice as long as it's infantry and has a shield. With the Greeks, I recommend Spearmen, and pretty much Spearmen only. There are some exceptions at the higher tiers. Basically, infantry with shields. There's no reason to really use anything else. All of his abilities call for melee infantry with shields except for Battle Cry, which works with all of them, and Hold the Line, which requires melee infantry. But this ability right here, Shield Bash and Fight in the Shade, are what make Leonidas just absolutely amazing. So you're going to want to use Spearmen for the most part, guys. What units to avoid? Don't use Pikemen, because Pikemen, their pikes negate their ability to Shield Bash because they're too far away. So the Shield Bash will just miss. It doesn't do anything unless you're in and you drop your pikes and you're using your swords instead. But at that point, you should have just been using Spearmen in the first place. Also, stay away from cavalry, guys. Cavalry are just pointless. Unit configurations, guys. There's really only two. There's not too much variation with Leonidas as far as like good builds goes. If you want to be a front lineman, 3 heavy spearmen. 3 heavy spearmen, you'll be able to tank all day long, guys. You just stand there and just take a beating all day long, killing the enemy. If you want to be more of a utility player, and it's only at certain tiers you're able to really do this build properly, and your javelin will always be in a lower tier, but you'd be 2 light or medium spear infantry, and then a javelin infantry. Now, what you want to do is use your light infantry or your medium infantry to make contact with the enemy, and you want to use mobility as to your favor here. And then have your javelins go behind while you're in melee to take out the enemy. So that's my utility build that I like to use. Again, it's 2 light or medium spearmen, and then 1 group of javelin to circle around the back and take them out. You are able to easily counter heavy infantry with this build, unless you're not fast enough at the circling around, or if your javelins get sidetracked by some other enemy as you're trying to flank around the back to get your javelins into the back of the heavy infantry. So those are my recommended builds. Leonidas is one of my favorite to use and a favorite amongst the majority of players, which is why they're going to probably debuff his abilities, in which case I will update this video. Hope you guys learned something and enjoyed the video. If you haven't already, please subscribe above. All my vapors out there, please stop by vapejerk.com. Use the code MASTER20 at checkout for 20% off. Till next time, guys, pwn on.